I put together a parlay with total odds of 56. Let's break it down. There's parlay pick 1. Brazil versus Haiti. After the opening round, Brazil became one of the most talked about teams of the World Cup. Carlo Ancelotti's side was expected to play exciting football and secure a convincing win over Morocco, but instead they were held to a rather disappointing 1-1 draw. Yes, Brazil controlled possession, attacked more, and created chances, but their performance raised more questions than answers. Now the situation is very simple. They can no longer afford to drop points. Another slip-up could seriously complicate the battle for first place in the group. That's why the mindset heading into the Haiti match must be extremely serious. Haiti lost 0-1 by Scotland in the opening round. At the same time, it can be said that they look completely hopeless. Their work rate and effort were there, but the difference in quality compared to top national teams was obvious, especially when we are talking about a match against Brazil. The head-to-head history is also completely on the South American side. Brazil was won all 3 meetings by a combined score of 17-1. The most recent competitive match ended in a 7-1 draw. Of course, you can't directly transfer past results into today's game, but the gap in player quality remains enormous. Please leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, where you'll find truly deep and well-argued match analysis. Thank you, let's keep moving. The most important factor for this bet is how Brazil usually react to criticism. After disappointing performances, teams like this tend to settle matters as quickly as possible and avoid letting suspense go, especially during the group stage of major tournaments. Haiti will almost certainly try to sit deep and stay compact. But if Brazil scores an early goal, the game could open up very quickly. And Ancelotti's side still possesses tremendous attacking talent even without Neymar. Vinicius, Rodrigo, Martinelli, and the rest of their attacking group are capable of creating pressure from the very first minutes. Another factor is the tournament situation. Brazil doesn't just need a win, they need a convincing win. Goal difference could play an important role in the race for first place in the group. So the favorites are unlikely to stop after scoring once. Haiti is unlikely to withstand constant pressure for very long. Even against Scotland, they made defensive mistakes, and the level of Brazil's attack is on a completely different level. Therefore, for the parlay, I'm taking Brazil's team total over 1 goal in the first half. I believe the 5-time world champions will come out highly motivated after their disappointing start and try to settle the match before halftime. For the wild parlay, I'll take Brazil team total over 1.5 goals in the first half at odds of 2.25. Guys, here's my Telegram and my stats. I work as transparently and honestly as possible. I even pay taxes as an individual entrepreneur. I am one of the few in this space who actually works openly and fairly. The link is in the description below. First parlay pick 2, Turkey versus Paraguay. For both teams, this is practically an elimination match already. After opening round defeats, there is almost no room left for another mistake. So we should expect a very tense and important game. Let's start with Turkey. Despite the 0-2 loss to Australia, the performance itself wasn't nearly as bad as the scoreline suggests. Vincenzo Montell's team fired 30 shots, hit the target 8 times, controlled over 70% possession, and won 8 corners. Essentially, Turkey controlled the entire match, but was let down by poor finishing and a few mistakes in transition. That's why I wouldn't draw major conclusions from the first game. Sometimes a team creates a huge number of chances and still fails to score. But if they continue creating opportunities at that rate, the goals usually arrive in the next match. Paraguay's situation looks much more concerning. The South American lost 1-4 to the United States and looked clearly second best. They were already trailing 0-3 by halftime, and the Americans comfortably saw the game out in the second half. Paraguay's only goal came after the match had already been decided. If we look at the overall structure of play, Turkey appears much more interesting. They have a quality midfield, quick wingers, and several players capable of creating chances out of nothing. Yes, the finishing was poor in the first round, but that will not continue forever. Another major advantage is motivation. After such a painful defeat to Australia, Turkey must respond. The pressure back home is enormous, and Montella understands perfectly that dropping points against Paraguay would almost end their hopes of advancing. Paraguay will also be forced to open up. A draw isn't particularly useful for either side. And that's exactly the type of scenario that could benefit Turkey. When space opens up, Turkish players tend to feel much more comfortable. In the opening round, Turkey created enough chances to score at least 2 or 3 goals. If they convert even part of those opportunities here, one Turkish goal looks highly likely. Therefore, for the parlay, I am taking Turkey team total over 1 goal. For the wild parlay, I will be taking 1x plus both teams to score at odds of around 2.1. Guys, when it comes to big odds, I don't like using my main bankroll because anything above 2 is still risky. That's why I usually prefer using welcome bonuses from partners. I signed up, made the minimum deposit, and received 5 bonus activations. Basically, I load 1 parlay onto each bonus specifically for these high odds. If the bet wins, the bonus multiplies by the big odds and moves into my main bankroll, which I can then withdraw. And if it loses, I don't spend money from my main bankroll, which is also nice. The partner is official and reliable. I left the link to the bonuses and full conditions in the pinned message on my Telegram channel. The promotion is still active for now. Let's keep going. Second parlay pick 1, Netherlands vs Sweden. In my opinion, this is one of the most exciting matches of the second round. Both teams have powerful attacks, both love to play forward, and both already showed in the first round that they can create plenty of chances. The Netherlands started the World Cup with a frustrating loss of points. Ronald Koeman's side took the leads twice against Japan, but ultimately failed to hold on and conceded the equalizer in 89th minute. The final 2-2 draw significantly complicated their position in the group, so a win is now highly desirable. Performance-wise, however, things look quite good. The Dutch controlled possession, consistently created pressure in the final third, and once again proved that their attack is in excellent shape. Van Dijk scored from a set piece, Somerville looked very lively, and Graulenberg unexpectedly delivered 2 assists. But there is another side to the story. The Netherlands has now gone 5 consecutive matches without keeping a clean sheet. Defensive mistakes continue to appear regularly, and against a team of Sweden's quality, that could become a serious problem. Sweden, meanwhile, burst into this World Cup in spectacular fashion. Their 5-1 victory over Tunisia was one of the most impressive results of the opening round. Graham Potter's team looked fresh, aggressive, and highly efficient in front of goal. The Isak-Gyökeres partnership was particularly impressive. Isak already has 1 goal and 2 assists, where the entire attacking line looked extremely dangerous. At the same time, it's worth noting that Sweden has now gone 12 consecutive matches without keeping a clean sheet. Even against Tunisia, they conceded. That's exactly why it's difficult to believe in a defensive battle here. The Netherlands needs a win after dropping points against Japan. Sweden is full of confidence after destroying Tunisia and clearly has no intention of sitting back. Another major factor supporting a high-scoring scenario is the tournament situation. A draw isn't an ideal result for either side. The Dutch need to catch up with the group leaders, while Sweden will be eager to build on its opening round success and move closer to the playoffs. Both teams have quality attackers, both have defensive issues, and both prefer offensive football. All of that fits perfectly with the goals market. For the parlay, I am taking over 2 goals. For the wild parlay, I will be taking 1-2 plus both teams to score at odds of 2.6. Second parlay, pick 2, Germany vs Ivory Coast. In my opinion, this could be one of the best matches of the second round. Both teams started the tournament with victories, both are riding positive momentum, but if you compare the overall quality of the squads, Germany still has the edge. Germany started the World Cup in dominant fashion. Yes, many will say Curacao isn't a real benchmark, and that's fair to some extent. But scoring 7 goals at a World Cup doesn't happen by accident. I was especially impressed by how Julian Nagelsmann's team grew stronger as the game progressed. The first half was relatively calm, but after the break, Germany completely overwhelmed its opponent with quick ball movement and relentless pressure. Denis Undav is in excellent form and looks like the player we saw at his best. Kimmich, Musiala, Wirtz have all been highly active. Most importantly, Germany has now won 10 matches in a row. A streak like that at international level speaks for itself. Ivory Coast also deserves a lot of respect. The Africans came into this match on a 5-game winning streak. Before the World Cup, they managed to beat France, and in the opening round, they added Ecuador. However, if we look deeper, that match against Ecuador was extremely demanding. Ivory Coast spent long stretches without the ball, defended heavily, and burned a tremendous amount of energy. At the same time, I don't expect them to sit back completely against Germany. In fact, against Ecuador, they attacked quality actively and created several good opportunities. That's why I don't expect a parked bus in front of their own penalty area. What I like most about this match is the potential game script. Germany will almost certainly dominate possession and spend a lot of time attacked. Ivory Coast has enough pace through Pepe, Diomande, and other quick forwards to threaten on the break. Because of that, the game could become fairly open. I would also point out Germany's recent statistics. In the 9 of their last 10 matches, they've scored at least 2 goals. At the same time, the German defense is far from perfect. Even Curaçao managed to find a goal, so an Ivory Coast goal wouldn't be a major surprise. For the parlay, I like 1x plus over 1.5 goals. Honestly, it's very difficult to imagine Germany losing in its current form. For the wild parlay, I'll be looking at Germany team total over 2 goals at around 2.1. There is one more match that I analyzed as a single bet, but it can also be added to the parlay, although the options are a bit riskier. Scotland versus Morocco. In my opinion, this is one of the most interesting betting matches in the second round. These are two teams that are extremely well organized without the ball and rarely allow opponents to create many chances. Scotland started the tournament with a 1-0 victory over Haiti. The match unfolded exactly the way many expected. Plenty of physical battles, minimal risk-taking, and a complete focus on the result. That's basically Scotland's identity right now. The team doesn't try to play attractive football for the sake of entertainment. Instead, it focuses on maximizing its strength, set pieces, discipline, and commitment. If we look at recent results, the pattern is very similar. A 1-0 win over Haiti, before that 4-0 against Bolivia, and 4-1 against Curaçao. But against stronger opponents, they lost 0-1 to both Japan and Ivory Coast. In other words, against higher-level teams, Scotland tends to play very cautiously. Morocco, meanwhile, looks like one of the strongest teams outside the tournament's elite favorites. The team has gone nearly a year without defeat, and its unbeaten run has reached 30 matches. That's a very serious number. What's especially impressive is the defensive organization. Even Brazil managed to score only once against them in the opening round. At the same time, the Moroccans looked very good themselves, and the draw certainly wasn't a fluke. Another thing I like about Morocco is their ability to manage games. If they need to shut a match down, they can do it. If they need to defend without the ball, they can do that too. And when space opens up for counterattacks, they exploit it very efficiently. I think the script will be fairly straightforward. Scotland will try to slow the game down as much as possible and prevent Morocco from finding rhythm. Morocco will gradually look for opportunities through individual quality and quick attacks. That's why for the parlay I like Morocco team total over 1 goal, or alternatively 2x plus under 3.5 goals as part of the main parlay. As for the wild parlay, I like Morocco to win plus under 3.5 goals at odds of 2.2.